Um, Thanks for joining us, and let's start, right?
Great.
Yeah, and let me introduce my colleague Anna Fedorova. She's a Chief Partnership Officer at Startup Network and CEO of Unicorn Cup. Anna?
Hi, Anastasia. I'm glad to see everyone in New York, in California, in Europe, wherever you are. It's really great to see familiar faces and new friends here. Welcome to the Unicorn Battle in New York, and our event is happening thanks to our sponsors. The global platinum sponsor is Network VC California Seed Fund, and global golden sponsor is ICU Ventures. ICU Ventures is a Kiev and London-based capital fund that invests in technology companies with ties to Central and Eastern Europe, focused on helping ambitious founders build global businesses. ICU Ventures makes late seed and Series A investments across the tech spectrum. And our silver global sponsor is Silicon Valley Syndicate Club. And I would like to remind everyone that the winner of today's battle will go together with us to Silicon Valley. Hopefully it will happen on July 30th, and where we gather all the winners of our local preliminaries that are happening right now in 25 countries, 50 major cities of the world. And we are going to go over more than 500 startups and choose only 50 winners who will be presenting their pitches live main stage. Also, there will be Startup Expo, 100 startups from all over the world. And we are expecting around 700 guests, 300 VCs, business angels. So everybody is welcome to join us. We, of course, we're welcoming partners and our sponsors who will help us to do all that. And I would like to introduce you to the company, Startup Network, who is the organizer of our today's event. Startup Network is not only the marketplace with the great potentials for the startups, for the investors to find great deals for the startups, to promote themselves. And it's also an ecosystem that reached last year 1 million users, and this year we expect to reach even more. It's an ecosystem of online solutions and platforms that helps to solve almost every task in the field of innovation, and it's a great network for everyone. One of the oldest pieces of our ecosystem is Unicorn Battle. That gives a great opportunities for startups to pitch live and find their investors, for the investors to find the best deals, and for partners who can grow really globally with us. We had been almost to every country of the world, but if you see a country that we haven't been to and you can be our partner in that country, please contact me, contact Anastasia, and we will be happy to chat about it and come with our battle to your country. We have done more than 200 battles in over the 11 years, and we do battles on regular basis in 20 countries. We have in regular US contests, 12 of them in the Silicon Valley, where our headquarters are, and we used to do our battles offline. Now we are, of course, doing it online all over the world. And this is, there are a lot of things good about it, because like you can join every battle that we are doing all over the world. One of the most recent parts of our family is Silicon Finance. Silicon Finance, designated for startups willing to apply to top American accelerators. We help them to relocate to United States and grant them funds and services worth $50,000. We invite best speakers and mentors to coach our startups online and offline for our acceleration program. Join us to become a better version of yourself. And Network VC California Seed Fund, the most recent part of our smart family. with two current strategies. First one, to participate as an investor in our pre-acceleration program for the chosen startups. And second one, to be a lead investor in our Silicon Valley Syndicate Fund. And Silicon Valley Syndicate Club is a special structure that allows venture syndicates for different startups be easily organized. Now, any investor starting with a little check as $10,000 is able to join our syndicates and get an access to best startups that we had found through our global network. And it's great opportunities for everyone, for startups to get direct finances, for investors who can follow us in our lead, and for the partners, because you can lead the chapter within your region. You can contact me and contact Anastasia to know more. And now I would like you to introduce to CEO of the VC House, Natalie Parshuta, and she will tell you about the new opportunities for the VCs we have. Natalie?
Thank you, Anna. Hello, everybody. Glad to see you here today. And I'd like to introduce you to our new project, VC House. This is a closed community network created exclusively for VCs, where they can exchange deals in which they participate as lead investors. And what is more, this is a platform for specialized offline events like LPGP events, where VCs can find investors for their funds. I invite you to join us at VC House. And now I'd like to return the floor to our host for today's event, Anastasia. She will lead you through our unicorn battle in a wonderful city of New York. Anastasia?
We don't hear you. Please put on your mic.
Thank you, Natalie. Yeah, and welcome everybody for our great event today. And I would like to introduce our partners for this battle. It's a Silicon Finance Pre-Acceleration Program, and it's Unilever, it's Share Ventures, and Eventbrite. And next, I will tell you the agenda. So next will be remarks from Alexandra Sasha Johnson with the topic of VC investment during pandemic. Then I will introduce a jury, and they can tell 1 minute about themselves. Then startups, competition, they will have 3 minutes to speech. And then we will find the winners. So, and let me introduce Alexandra Johnson, our co-organizer for Unicorn Cup, which will be in maybe July. So Alexandra, you can tell.
Good morning, good evening. I don't know where people are. Am I okay? Am I on the screen now? I decided, yeah, okay. I decided not to do any slides because I do so many Zooms that I know that people are zooming out. Also, I won't be long. I'll just make some statements, and if people have questions, I'll be happy to answer. I'll start with some obvious statements, like this one. It's not the strongest species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change. And who said that? Charles Darwin. So that's where we are. It's not the first crisis we've seen in the Valley, and I personally have been through 3. And now the question is how different the current crisis is. It's somewhat different, but in other senses, it is not. Like if you look at, I'll throw some names at you. Apple, Slack, WhatsApp, Microsoft, Pinterest, IBM, Uber, Groupon, Instagram, DocuSign. What is common with all these companies? They all were created during a crisis. It means that when you read somewhere and people are telling you turn the crisis into an opportunity, that's exactly what it is. Having said that, if I look at what's happening in Silicon Valley, in terms of venture capital investments. Statistically, it's down. It's pretty much 30% less than it was last year. But what you need to keep in mind that last year was an amazing year for VC investments. It really was going through the roof. And arguably, it had to come down a little. But at the same time, you need to understand what it means. It doesn't mean that there are no investments. Of course, investments are being made. And the funds that were created a couple years ago, and they're still in their investment phase, they have not seen any change. They still look at the deals. Now, the funds, the bigger funds, of course, look for proven models. It means that if statistically, again, and historically, we were saying that venture capital, it's about taking risks. Somebody arguably would say venture means adventure. We see fewer deals on that scale because now people are managing their cash. And if as a venture capitalist, people who are, I'm sure, will have enough among our judges, you know that you spend most of your time looking for deals. And that is not the case now. I would say we, and I asked enough of my colleagues, spend the most time triaging our companies. What does it mean? It means that in every portfolio, you have companies that you need honestly decide if you're going to spend any resources on those companies. So some of them eventually, unfortunately, will not survive. Then there would be one or two that they know what they're doing, but then most of them will need your help and support. So it means that if you are $100 million fund and you have limited resources, then you would know that you'll need that cash to last longer. And you'll give it to a company that is making changes, which is pivoting in this sense, understanding that their product probably will take longer to go to the market. They would understand how to make changes with their management team. And then these are the companies you will work together to keep. So yes, you still make investments, but most of your cash and attention goes to companies that already exist in your portfolio. Now, is it bad news? Actually, it is good news, I think, for the companies that are already in. It means that they get our undivided attention and you really get quality time with your investor. And then another job as an investor you secure the next round. Because yes, you believe in your portfolio, you invested enough, but then who will continue to put money into your company? Now, I know that also some startups are listening to us about the pitch. And I promised to mention some fields where we do see investments still happening. It's touchless payments, tools supporting teleworking. If we think of like some smaller companies doing something that could be turned around fast enough. But if you look at the industries, it's easy to say the industries that are in trouble, right? I'm sure if I ask any one of you, it will be a lot of travel, hospitality. But then you look at other industries that are booming right now. Education online. Who thought that an institution like Stanford or Harvard will be offering their courses online? And again, arguably, you cannot translate, you cannot move all the specialties online. I personally do not quite understand how you can train doctors online, but hopefully they will figure it out. But okay, education, healthcare. Healthcare, yes, we have been looking at digital health for a long time, but several companies got major financing and investments like as late as 2 weeks ago. And one company is dealing with the mental health, and that's moved online. One company is doing the preventive analytics. So healthcare is transforming. And even if you remember your own visits to the doctor, now you can do a lot of administrative work online, which was not possible even a month ago. So you need to rethink the future of our life and see how it will work. You need to create virtual business models, well, e-commerce, of course, you know. Then you might ask me, what is happening to gig economy? Well, the gig economy, there's something we will include Uber and Airbnb into that field. Okay, Airbnb when us is falling into hospitality, and you know that they laid off thousands and thousands of people, but at the same time, they have a strong investment pool, and they did get several hundred million just to kind of tie them over, who knows, for a couple of years. But if you look at companies like Uber and Lyft, yeah, in trouble, because in the gig economy, there are typically two kinds. One is doing stuff for you and bringing stuff to you. So the businesses like I'll walk your dog, well, that probably is not doing that well, and all those driving force is shrinking. But when you deliver goods, see what's happening again. Okay, Amazon always has, I mean, not always, but the last 4 years they've been growing. And so they turned around and adjusted beautifully. But then you have those Uber Eats and you have Instacart and you have all that stuff delivering stuff to you. Video games, sporting events, as you know, will probably not be the same for a long time, but it means there's an opportunity in that field. People still would want entertainment. People still would want to go and have an equivalent of a movie theater. So that is all moving online, and it's another opportunity to create businesses that either will help deliver high resolution images, or it will create content that would really push aside everybody else. So remote opportunities in marketing, transportation. I mean, I already said about the hybrid, not transportation. Actually, transportation, speaking of transportation, there was one company in our portfolio that was doing great developing data analytics for car makers. Now, who will predict what will happen? Do we need so many cars? Now our car is sitting in the garage. I don't know how on your part, excuse me, in the world, but here, at least in California, insurance companies are sending checks to people because they drive us. Does it mean that we'll have fewer cars? I do not know, because at the same time, if people are not flying, they might drive more, right? Because they'll go to existing neighborhoods and they'll bring, and so maybe they will we use their car more often. So anyways, it just to give you a snapshot of where we are and what we're looking at. And one benefit definitely is that some people who did stay at home, now they have a chance to join the workforce. You know, women with children, for example, we see an increase, at least in our startup world, that they have now hours that they didn't have before because they don't have to commute. People with disabilities, the same thing, and they're joining the workforce. And if you get to this life-work balance, then ultimately it you know, yields higher productivity. So there are good things about it. So the bottom line, and I'll leave you with that the investment world is well and working hard to continue. The industry is not going anywhere. It's just the adjustments. And the way startups adjust to the realities, so do investors. And only those who understand that our life is changing and will not go back again. I don't believe in the word normal. Nobody knows what normal is, but it's different, all right? But there are all kinds of opportunities. And I hope that today's startups will be pitching in either in those niches, helping people improve the quality of life, or they're the ones that are ready to revolutionize an industry because that's what previous turbulent times have brought. And I'll stop with that, and if we have time for questions, I'll be happy to answer. Anastasia, back to you.
Thanks, Alexandra. It was very interesting. So, any judges or startups who can add something?
It was really great to learn. Yes, and I totally agree that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and it's more than true about startups that we'll be pitching today, right? Nastya? It's like
So, okay, before we start the pitch competition, please greet our honored judges who volunteered their valuable times today. And please introduce yourselves and your funds you presented for 1 minute. And first of all, I would like to introduce Alexander Soroka, and he's a CEO at Startup Network. Alexander.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming for Unicorn Battle in New York. And as of about Network VC, it's our seed fund. So we are industry agnostic, usually invest from 50 to 250K and prefer to invest in US or European-based startups. Thank you.
Thanks. And next, I would like to introduce Roman Nikitov.
Yes, hello everyone.
Hi.
Yes. Hello, Sasha. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you virtually. We're all hoping to see a lot of you in real life, in offline terms. But you know, this concept is even better. I can, without traveling, I feel like you know, we're saving on logistic costs and time. And visiting, you know, all these unicorn battles around the globe. So happy to be part of that. I think Startup Networks is doing a great job. So basically, I represent ICU Ventures. We're London and Kiev-based late seed round A firm that invests into companies. We prefer investing into companies that are domiciled in the US, but are originating from Central or Eastern Europe. We invest from 200 to $1 million. And today we hope to see some exciting stories and wish best luck to everybody who will present their projects.
Thank you. Thank you, Roman. Thanks for coming. And so for next, I would like everybody can introduce themselves. I can't see if all judges, presented here. So
hey guys, this is Adil. I'm from New York. I work for Unilever as a head of e-commerce technology, and my focus and background is in e-commerce, emerging technologies, digital. I'm also founder for Share Ventures. I went to Kiev actually 3 or 4 months ago. Met the team at Startup Network and really excited to work with them. So I'm really happy to help you guys in any ways. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Don't be shy. Don't wait for a turn if you want to go.
I'm John Baer from Stonehearth Ventures. I'm a recovering venture capitalist and serial entrepreneur. What does that mean? It means I've seen all sides of the startup equation. I spend my time not investing at this point, but working with startups, helping them to understand how to be successful in terms of pitching, helping with operational and strategic roles. Wrote a book about Silicon Valley called Decoding Silicon Valley, which is written to help entrepreneurs all around the world understand how to be successful, whether they're in Silicon Valley or scattered elsewhere, and probably as appropriate, if not more so, given where we are today in the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to have you.
Yeah, my name is Gary Fowler. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Gary.
For the Russian folks here, I'm David Yang's partner in 2 companies from Abbey. I am also an angel investor. I started the Startup Academy at Skolkovo as well as with Lawrence Wright as well as GVA a few years ago. So today we have GSD, Get You Done Venture Studios. We're primarily looking for incredible AI technology growth stage companies where we come in operationally. So I'm involved in several funds myself as a CEO or as an investor. So we're looking at really cool.
Oh. I think some internet problems with Gary.
Time to jump in.
Hey.
This is Brian Feinberg. I'm the founder of both Ethereal Labs, New York City. We're a New York City-based venture accelerator. We've been involved in the blockchain space since 2014 when we serendipitously bumped into it. Also the founder of Zephyr Technology Ventures, which has just had its 12th year anniversary. We really work with early stage companies, primarily in the data, security, and fintech space. We're launching an open repository, which hopefully will have some invites out to this entire group and start to interface more with the startup ecosystem that's here. So we're always looking for really early stage innovation that has both growth and scale to it.
Thanks. Thanks for coming.
Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm a venture partner at Unventures, and we're early stage investors in companies solving real economy problems on personal, SME, and also data compliance levels. If you're working on anything like that, we're happy to talk.
Thank you, Catherine.
Hi, this is Sunil Ranka. I'm a venture partner with Z Nation Lab. We are an early stage seed fund between Silicon Valley and Mumbai, India. I'm a founder and CEO of a company called Predictly. We are into automation space. And recently we started with a podcast, Silicon Valley Tech Behind the Scene. So we are interviewing people who have made the difference and who have made critical decisions. And we want to interview and we want to know what went behind them when they were making those decisions. So if you have any referrals, let us know. We will be more than happy to bring them onto our podcast. But apart from that, so far we invest into early stage, in a early stage, seed stage state of the companies. Happy to be part of Unicorn Battle.
Thanks for coming, Sunil.
I'm Sudhir Kadam.
Hi, Sudhir.
Yeah, I'm Sudhir Kadam, venture partner at FireDog Growth Partners. And the timing is just right for us to have this in New York, the Silicon Alley, because that is where the finance is the king and profits are the power. Okay, this is the mantra for most startups going into the new economy. As far as our company is concerned, we look at deep tech startups that are pushing the boundaries of technological capabilities. We focus on transforming early adoption into growth. Some of our exits are in the areas like location apps, video streaming, IoT platforms, and the last one was cloud workload protection, which was acquired by McAfee in August 2019. Current focus, AR, VR, computer vision, IoT, robotics, health and wellness tech, teleoperations, genomics, and alternate foods. Thank you.
Thanks. Good to have you. I see Kate join us from 500 Startups. Hi, Kate.
Was muted. All right. Hi, everyone. Greetings from San Francisco. I'm Kate Saladetz. I'm on 500 Startups investment team. So 500 Startups is a venture fund and business accelerator. We invest in early stage, pre-seed, seed stage companies globally, and we are industry agnostic. So usually the companies that we invest in get accepted into our accelerator program, which has recently changed its format. So with the new format, we accept companies on a rolling basis, versus twice a year as we used to operate. So if the companies who are watching us are now interested in applying to 500 Startups, our applications are now open all year round, and you can submit your application at 500.co. So that being said, very excited to hear today's pitches, and good luck everyone presenting.
Thanks, Kate.
Great to have you.
Hi, all. This is Cal.
Yeah, Cal, we hear you.
Okay, thought I heard somebody else. My name is Cal Deutsch. I am a co-founder at Silicon Valley in Your Pocket, which is a virtual startup accelerator. Suddenly, the whole world has gone virtual and caught up with us. We're actually thrilled that Startup Network is one of our partners, and we have several of their companies going through our program right now. We also recently launched a sister company called Deal Engine, dealengine.ai, which is building a machine learning predictive model to de-risk startup deal flow, both for investors and for founders. So if there are any people out there that would like to work with us on the data side, we're happy to chat.
Oh, great to have you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marguerite Salapur. I am a business and tech lawyer. I work with entrepreneurs, startups, and businesses, and I help them with forming their businesses, negotiating and drafting their contracts and tech transactions, and litigating business and contract disputes. I'm also president-elect of the Santa Monica Bar Association and the board for the UCLA alumni. And I work with all sorts of tech companies, from med tech, biz tech, transportation logistics tech, to emerging tech like AI and IoT.
Thanks for coming.
Guys,
that's a good part for me to join because I'm also an attorney. Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Subotina. I'm a corporate securities attorney at Ross Law Group, and we also represent startups, but most of our clients are investment funds, venture capital, and private equity, and we represent them in their efforts to raise funds from their investors and when they invest in startups. We're fund counsel for AngelList, so we're doing all their deals. And for startups, in addition to regular financing rounds, we do crowdfunding for them. We prepare and file Form C with Republic. So we have a lot of experience with different ways of raising funds. And we've been guiding investment funds and startups throughout their life cycle, from formation, financing rounds, M&A, and exit.
Thank you.
Happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And it's fascinating that we're adapting to the new ways of life.
Yeah.
hi guys, I would like to squeeze in. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So I'm Alexander. I'm managing partner and hi from sunny Israel. It's like insane in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Alexander. I'm a managing partner of Solid 5. Is an Israel, Switzerland family office-like fund. We are recently opened also offices in Kiev, so we already have some investment of some of the guys here. And we are looking mostly into pre-seed and seed, that everything's that come to what we call the web domain. We are pretty good with data, AI, all of those things, marketplaces. We pretty like to scale. So this is what we are doing. We are opening gates to Europe and sometimes to US. I cannot compete with the US guys, but as for this region, we are pretty good. So this is what we're doing. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Thanks for coming.
Hi, I'm James Sowers. And,
Hi, James.
I'm an angel investor, and I also scout for CHTA Ventures and run the Pop-Up Ventures Syndicate and help startups when they're ready get acquainted with family offices for later rounds and how to network and meet those type of people and build those relationships. Thanks for having me today, and excited to see the pitches.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Bartlett, calling from Berkeley in the morning here. Good to see New Yorkers. I used to live there, that town so much. Hope you guys are doing well, staying safe. I'm an attorney, and I represent a network of investors. You know my baby in the background, excuse me. I represent a network of investors, and we do early stage to Series A, Series B. And there are different frontier technology areas, specifically focused on the real world economy at this point. It's healthcare technology, life sciences, transport, and blockchain.
Great to have you.
Hey guys, I'll go next. My name is Erica Van. I'm an investor at Charles River Ventures. We are a multi-stage venture fund, but focus on early stage. We have 3 separate teams that focus on 3 separate things: enterprise, B2B, consumer, biotech, and healthcare. In terms of geo, we are headquartered in SF, but across San Francisco, Palo Alto, Boston, and New York, but also definitely heavily invest internationally as well. I personally am focused on early stage B2B investing, and I specifically focus on East Coast companies.
Hi, everyone. My name is Blake Pennington. I'm with Fusion Fund.
We're an early stage venture firm based in Palo Alto, focusing on enterprise, industrial, and healthcare investments. Prior to joining Fusion Fund, I worked at Intel for a couple of years out in Washington, D.C. Spent 5 years in an early stage enterprise software startup, going from zero to our first $3 million in annual recurring revenue, and a couple of years management consulting before that. Pleasure.
Hey everybody, this is
I'm Charles. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Charles. This is Untitled.Events. I'm the CEO of NextCubed, based out of the San Francisco Bay Area. We also have offices in New York and San Diego. We focus on investing in seed stage companies that are leveraging frontier tech in our key industry verticals, including fintech, digital health, and soon to be prop tech. From an international perspective, we also do run programming for companies that are looking to land in the US. We have an accelerator and bootcamp program for that as well. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Great. Charles?
Hi, everybody. I'm Charles. I'm an angel investor and venture principal at Bling Capital. It's a new fund started by Ben Ling, who was previously general partner at Khosla Ventures. At the fund, what we specialize in is helping startups find and scale product market fit. We deploy something called the Product Council. It's about 100 senior heads of product, heads of engineer, heads of design to help out portfolio companies. Really excited to be here. We prefer to lead the seed round. We're sector agnostic, focused in North America. And thanks for having me, Anastasia.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, pleasure.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ruchi Dana. I'm a doctor and a Stanford MBA. I represent Dana Family Office. We invest mainly in early stage and pre-IPO deals. In seed stage, we invest around 100 to 250K. I'm logged in here from Dubai today. I was recently also featured by Forbes magazine as top power businesswoman in 2020. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you so much.
So do we.
Thanks for coming.
And
can I probably jump in? I was waiting here to be the last one. Hello, everyone. My name is Anastasia.
We don't see your video.
Oh, really? I'm streaming it. And I see myself.
That's good. Let you see.
Yeah, I mean, I can, use this benefit and see myself pretty often in the mirror. I'm sorry, guys. I'll check my video after I do the presentation, so I don't make anyone wait. So quick about myself. I was CEO of Silicon Valley-based VC fund Noosphere Ventures for around 5 years. Our primary focus was everything around communications, either it's local communities, social networks, messengers, online dating, etc. And for 2 years, I'm partner of an Australian-based company, New Media Services, which works with startups on early stages and help them in whatever is needed to launch and scale the project during the first month of life. And also, luckily, this year I became the partner of Startup Networks in Switzerland, where I'm based, and we were lucky enough to hit our first event right before Corona and all the quarantine happened at the beginning of March, like first days of March, which was a great success and great experience. Everyone is waiting for another battles here, so hopefully we'll be able to do that soon. Very excited to be part of such a great team of the judges, and yeah, looking forward to startups.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
I continue.
Yeah, sure, Tom. Yeah,
I'm dialing in from Berlin, Germany. Welcome, everybody. And yeah, I'm invested in more than 10 venture capital funds around the world. So from Unlock Ventures in LA to Infinity Ventures in Japan, with 500 startups in Vietnam, in Singapore, but also here in Germany and Austria. So quite a good overview about the market all around the world. I'm also running here in Europe the largest technology PR firm. We have a lot of US companies that are moving to Europe, like GitHub, Stripe, Silicon Valley Bank, many other tech heavyweights with all kind of PR, social media, content marketing, whatever makes them famous and helps them with their brand. So very excited to be here and listening to the pitches.
Great to have you. Yes.
Great. Should I continue? My name is Fredrik Tuck. I'm calling in from Copenhagen in Denmark. I'm working for a company called Maersk Drilling. We are an offshore drilling operator. And we are, my title is, I'm working with innovation scouting to try to find the right startups and also long-term investing in them We're working a lot in Silicon Valley together with Plug and Play, and also in Houston with Station Houston to help us scout and find the right startups. Thanks a lot, Anastasia and Anna, for having me. It's going to be really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to listening to the startups.
Great to have you. Yep.
All right, can I continue?
Sure, yeah, Daniel.
All right, awesome. Hi guys, happy to see you again. It's been a pleasure to come to your events already several times. Well, I think it's first of all, it's exciting to listen every startup today. I represent the GSD Venture Studios. I'm partner and vice president of global business intelligence at GSD Venture Studios. We help startups to go to the United States market, and we help them with sales, connections, and investments, and etc. Lots of things. On the other part, I'm also founder of Go Global World Community. We help startups to connect with basically different markets and go global. And we try to get the network of Silicon Valley closer to them. I'm looking forward to hear the pitches and give them our feedback. Thank you.
Thanks. Great. Yeah.
Can I jump in?
Sure, yeah. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marcelo. I'm from Brazil, but I'm located in Boston, in the US. I'm from Drummond Ventures. I already participated in one of this battle here in Boston 2019. Now we have this new normal that we are all of us are online. So it's nice to be here. Thank you so much for this invitation. We focus on early stage companies in fintechs and biotechs and education. And I wish the best of luck to all companies that are gonna pitch there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And next one will be next one.
Did I go, guys, or are we
Sure,
still waiting?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I was just trying to wait out until my turn. So, hey, everyone, this is Abi Aniket. I run Magnificent Ventures in New Jersey, really very close to New York City. So we're, we're seeing a little bit of a spillover effect. But interestingly enough, the deal flow hasn't stopped, so that's a great thing. We run 3 streams. It's a cross-border platform for venture development, an innovation lab, and an investment platform. So we look at mostly late seed to Series A rounds, more suitable if you're an enterprise tech or a health tech company. We're looking at, of course, the newer new economy projects, more frontier tech. And good to see some known faces here, as always. Wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Yes. Next one will be Mark, right?
Yeah, Mark Hamadi. I have right now a self-fund, do late stage and early stage. I've got another 9-figure that came in. I look for resilient companies. The companies that went bankrupt, I don't feel bad for them at all. I feel bad for the employees. Got to figure it out and move forward. And excited to see what's going on and how these companies are going to be resilient and grow.
That's good.
Thanks for joining us.
Next one. Yes, next
This
one.
is Jordan Wabe. Good morning, everyone. Good evening. Hey, I am glad you put this together. I get to see Cal, Catherine, Ben, Marlon, Verdun. These guys I haven't seen in forever, so this is perfect. If you are pitching today, give it all you got. This is not just an exercise. There's a ton of people here looking for investments. I'm Jordan Wabe. Used to run Bay Angels. I have a new organization called Silicon Valley Venture Group. We have a side card fund and some small number of investors. Our goal is looking at technologies and companies that are going to help us live with the COVID, survive, thrive, and get better at it. So we're looking for real business, real companies, real solution, no more dog walking apps, no more social apps, something to really turn this world inside out, because it's a brand new world and it's a lot of opportunity for all of us.
Great. Congratulations on your new entity.
Thank you.
Yes, and next one is, before we close this session, will be next one, next one, 2, last four.
I can jump in. This is Jonathan Wallace. I'm with Expert Dojo. We are an international accelerator based out of Los Angeles. We've got about 70 companies in our portfolio at the moment. We just started our last cohort yesterday, actually. So we're recruiting companies for the next cohort in the fall. Each company gets a $100,000 investment. We mainly target international founders, but it doesn't really matter exactly. And yeah, we're looking for some awesome companies now.
Great.
Thanks for joining us.
And they got a killer program. I love their program.
Yeah, and Jordan's always involved, so we know Jordan well.
That's good. And the very last call, the lastest of all.
I just wanted to say Jordan is looking for companies that will turn our world upside down. I think it's already there, so we just need the opposite motion, something that would put us on our feet.
We just want to focus on what makes a huge difference. No more silly Mickey Mouse stuff.
Yeah.
Anna, tell us about you. You always host these great events. Tell us something about you. Teach us.
Oh gosh, Jordan, what are you doing? Okay, that's the treat. Everybody who stays all the way through, at the end, you'll have something, insights from me. That'll do it. Okay, let's move on. If nobody wants to present himself or herself, shall we? I'll share my screen again.
Yeah,
thanks again for all the judges who joined us, and
thanks again. And yeah, I would like to tell a little bit more about voting process. So every judges received their personal link to vote, and you just go through this link and to see all startups under this link. And you have to choose and put marks from 1 to 5 for each participants, and the 1 is the lowest and 5 is the highest potential investment potential. So if you need any assistance or you don't have a link for voting, please just send me a message and we will resend it to you shortly. And also, I would like to tell for attendees, you also have a chance to vote. Please go online for our event and put your greatest mark if you like this startup, so they can also win your attendees
appreciation, right?
Appreciation, yeah, right. So, and now let's jump on a startup competition. And first, I would like to introduce Grow Squares.
Hello. This is Deshaun with Grow Squares. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Shall I begin or share my screen?
Yeah, share your screen and let's start. So for startups, I will put a timer for 3 minutes. So if you exceed the limit, I will stop you, and then you will have 3 minutes for questions and answers from judges.
Okay. So ready?
Let's start. Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. And maybe we have a couple of gardeners on the call who can relate, but gardening can be a pain, and it often is. Actually, more than 2/3 of people report experiencing significant difficulty or dissatisfaction with their garden plot. Even among the self-proclaimed experts, the green thumbs amongst us, just about 90% report they don't know which plants grow best given their unique environmental conditions. And despite this difficulty, gardening is still a large industry. This data, most recent data, is from 2018, reporting there's an $8 billion market size. But interestingly enough, there's actually been a 5x increase in market growth since everything that's been happening with COVID this year. And so we're following up with a fun, elegant solution that aims to remove many of the barriers associated with gardening. So here we have Grow Squares, which is a 2-part gardening system. So first is the grow square itself, which you can see here, which are these 1 square foot modular garden toppers that contain all of the seeds and nutrients you need to get started. And then there's our complimentary app as well to guide you through the process. So how does this app work? Well, first you tell us the exact size and shape of your garden plot. And then you place your phone at your intended garden location. And within about 20 seconds, we can pull from over 15 different APIs to assess hyperlocal sunlight levels, shadows, even soil taxonomy, temperature, to recommend what plants grow best given that unique location. We utilize all of these insights to help us identify the exact nutrients, minerals, and bacteria to go inside each grow square for the most successful growth. And then we assemble your mix into our square foot blocks at the center, which resides all of the seeds necessary to get started for your selected plants. Each grow square is then packaged and shipped directly to users, where after reception, they lay them out according to the configuration recommended in the app to ensure optimal compatibility, and just start watering to begin the process. Once the garden's up and running, the app will tell users when to water, when to thin, and even predict harvest date. Here we have a bit of a look more into the grow square itself, which are created from fallen areca palm leaves that are crafted to biodegrade within a plant's life cycle. And really, the core novelty we're aiming to construct here lies within our ability to do a remote assessment of local environmental conditions and evaluate how those unique conditions affect plant growth. We are raising a $2 million safe with around half of that committed. The pre-money valuation is $8 million, with the largest single investor being IKEA GreenTech. We have a diverse team spanning product design. Myself, background is a microbiologist, data scientists, and developers, all working together to make garden a bit easier. And I think that's it.
Thanks, Dashan. So now, please judges, any questions or suggestions?
What is your current target audience, ideal customer profile?
So, yeah, our ideal customer right now, we found a lot of traction within kind of older millennials, young families, kind of looking to get into hobbies, like food awareness and transparency is becoming kind of a big thing within kind of health and wellness right now. And so yeah, that's generally what we see.
So I have a question. There have been a lot of people who've tried to build businesses in this area in the past, and I realize the world has changed. But distribution, visibility, customer acquisition have always been the key challenge. How are you going to address those in a more effective way than other people who've come before you?
Yeah, and we're setting up to launch within July, mid-July, and right now we are going for a big kind of social push. The thing is, we kind of want to put ourselves where people go to look for gardening information, and so now, being that everyone's pretty much operating online, we're planning on going to like YouTube tutorials, reaching out to kind of key influencers in the area, trying to get in the space where kind of core information is. In terms of kind of deploying the product in comparison to a lot of competitors, what makes it kind of easier for us is that we don't have really expensive hardware. Each of these squares costs $20. It's no setup process. All of our tech is through kind of data analysis, data science, and so it's very easy to deploy to new places as well.
This is Jordan. Thanks. This is a B2C play. Do you see a B2B2C play? Because that's probably a better path for the current economy.
Yes, that's been brought to our attention a couple of times, specifically around the kind of data component that we do. So we do have in development kind of an API if people just kind of want to do remote assessments to, kind of predict yield, crop growth, crop stages in the works. And so that the data science component is a kind of core to our product play, and it's something that we're looking into.
Two comments. If you're pitching, guys, the shorter the answers, the more concise, the better you will be. You get more questions. And two, on the B2C, sir, 60-some% of the B2C companies at the early stage pivot to B2B2C, but before they get funded for Series A. So do a lot of homework before you get married to the B2C.
Okay.
Could you also elaborate a little bit just on your pricing model? I see you have a slide in the auxiliary on pricing schema. Like, what does it retail for?
Yeah, so each square is $20. There's no cost to the app, and it's $20 regardless of kind of which plant you're growing. We generally see users buying around 10 with a little bump when kind of garden season hit.
Bill Baker here, guys, asking a question that nobody asked. It to sound like Mr. Wonderful, but $8 million pre-money valuation is pretty high. What are your sales?
So right now we have pre-orders, about 24,000 kind of pre-orders for these that we're kind of, and this is with like no market or ad spend, just through kind of word of mouth or kind of getting out.
So is the short answer 0?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, that was pretty simple. Short answers per Jordan's comment. Okay.
Thanks for presentation. Thanks. And we have to move to the next startup. So if any other questions can be asked after all startups, each competition, we have a networking for 30 minutes. So
Anastasia, so sorry. Can the pitching company put their contact information in the chat when you have a chance so we know how to reach you, please?
Sure, yeah. They can share their contacts to all panelists and maybe attendees, yeah. And next one is YCAM and Verdan.
Yeah.
Next startup.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you for having me in New York. It's nice to see some familiar faces, especially Jordan. I met him a couple of times in San Francisco. He's all over the place there. So yeah, I'm gonna now share my screen.
Yeah, and I will put it here.
Yeah. So again, my name is Vedran. I'm CEO and the founder of ViewCam, who is with its wearable technology trying to transform mobile communication. So when we talk about mobile communication, we need to start with the smartphone. I'm sure everybody has it. So far we can easily say it's been the best communication tool ever. But still, believe it or not, there are people who are having trouble using smartphones. So why is that so? Just imagine being this technician, in-field technician, so working on an electric pole. You have a problem that you need to solve. So how could you take your smartphone out of your pocket with your hands and make a video call with the remote expert when your hands needs to be free? So the solution would be something like this, to having a smartphone attached to the eyewear. And we in our company did something like that. So basically it's a wearable smartphone and clip on to any eyewear. But most importantly, this is the first wearable device that can work out of the box with any mobile app. So it runs mobile apps on itself. It has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, but again, it runs apps, and those apps doesn't have to be only for live video streaming, video conferencing, video recording, but apps utilizing AI and computer vision for face detection, object recognition, and similar. So those are our competitors, and all those competitors, like the companies who are competitors, are building the smart glasses. And smart glasses, I'm sure that you're familiar with those, and the customer reactions on those devices are not so good. So in general, customers hate head-up displays, and because of head-up displays, those devices are running on custom-built operating systems. And because of that, all the apps to be able to run on those devices need to be custom-built as well. So at the end, the customer reaction is that there are no apps for those devices. just to, explain our stage. So we are working mostly with the B2B customers because we are solving the problem for those guys who have like in-field technicians who want to use this device for remote assistance, remote inspection, remote training and similar. We already work with more than 150 companies. You've seen some of those like on this slide. We have like 1,500 pre-orders that those companies placed, what translates in more than 700,000 of revenue. So these are just like two examples of the recent emails that we are receiving. I'm sure that you are aware that because of this like COVID-19 pandemic, like remote work has been the buzzword of the year. So companies are reaching out. Ford Motor Company wants to use our devices. And this is just like a sample from one hospital in New Jersey who wants to equip their nurses with our devices. So in this case, the doctors would be remote experts who want to treat the more patients at the same time through our technology. So at the moment we are raising $1.2 million. We are coming from Croatia. We already have like 200,000 commitments from the business angels. We pretty much want to use that money to actually fulfill those pre-orders and to scale up the business. I just want to mention that from those like pre-orders and from those companies that we have, they usually pre-order a few units, but if those like first market ready units are going to be up to promise, that we have a great opportunity to sell additional 6,500 units only to those customers. This is our team. We have like the core team of 8 people. We've been working on similar technologies from 2014 when we worked on the Google Glass project, and that is when we found out that actually customers have a problem with the smart glasses, that like those devices are gonna not be suitable for 99% of the use cases, where people don't need like augmented reality capabilities, just a simple to use, easy to carry around, hands-free communication device that's gonna work with all mobile apps that they already.
Well done, thanks. Yeah.
On their smarts. That's it. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. Now we have.
What's proprietary about what you're doing?
Okay, sure. So as I mentioned, like all the smart glasses, they use like head-up display as the input and output device, and that changed the story completely. Those devices can work only with the specific apps. Our device uses the proprietary technology that like mirrors the operating system on your smartphone LCD, and you can also like it takes over the remote screen of any mobile device as its own. In general, yeah.
What's going to prevent somebody in China from knocking you off and selling it for $10 a unit?
So it's not a $10 unit. It's a pretty powerful technology. It's built around like the Qualcomm Snapdragon technology, and we use like our proprietary remote droid technology to actually mirror the operating system on a remote screen. So yeah, it's not easy to replicate.
Hey, Vadram, is this a Bluetooth device, or do you need your mobile always turned on?
So it has like the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity. Bluetooth is there only to connect it or to pair with the Bluetooth earpiece or headphones to be able to talk back and forth with somebody who is on the other side, but Wi-Fi is there to connect to the internet. So yeah.
How durable is the product? Like, can it take, how much wear and tear can it take if you stress test it?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it's much more robust, like, and like you can easily put it in your pocket when you don't need it. So, like compared to smart glasses that are like big, and hard to carry around, they are fragile because of head-up display. They use like, like the battery life is much more longer on our device because our device doesn't have to, power up so many like peripherals, so like built-in sensors. It doesn't have its own screen again. So, yeah.
Could you talk a little about the unit economics, the margins, and just the overall revenue model, if there's a recurring component to the revenue model?
Yeah, there is. So I'm going to just like switch here. Sorry. So yeah, so obviously we are building the hardware and we want to build and sell the hardware and earn money on that. So like bill of material for per one unit is like $100, but we can go like below that with the larger volume. We also have like our cloud-based streaming service that works the best with our hardware, but still our hardware is hardware agnostic. It can run any mobile app. Also, like there's a great opportunity to license technology to other hardware manufacturers because our technology can be built in different form factors, and all those cameras, can be now like the communication devices. And also, when talking about the recurring revenue streams, we want to build an ecosystem around the devices. So we want to, build and sell like the cables, battery packs, different mounts and add-ons, because the profit margin is like much bigger on those things.
Thanks.
But yeah, but the profit margin is like.
Vardan, what are the 3 top tracking things you have? Revenue, customers?
Yeah.
Just give us just boom, boom, boom.
Very short. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead. Tell us.
Okay. Yeah. So we already have we are working with more than 150 companies who pre-ordered more than 1,500 units. That's important to understand, So yeah.
Got it. What else? Is that it?
That's it, pretty much.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can share the list of the company that we work with, and all the customer emails. I have 61 pages of those emails coming inbound. We are not all generic, revenue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. So we are moving next, and just to remind for judges, so you have to put marks depending on investment potential from 1 to 5, where 5 is the highest mark and 1 is the lowest. So yeah, just to make sure. And the next startup is Dig Facts and Nishant. So Nishant, you hear me?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. So let me share my screen. Can everyone see it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
If you can't speak up just a dash, that would be helpful.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. So hi, my name is Nishant Tomar. I'm the founder of DigSat. What we have built here, we are basically enabling anyone carrying a smartphone to digitally create, inspect, view, experience any 3D space. Some examples: any real estate, any tourist spots, scenic view, any place of interest. Basically, what we are offering is the ability to create 3D virtual tours that captures the dimensions automatically with a single tap. And there are multiple applications across various industries where we are focusing right now. So it's basically, in a nutshell, it's virtual reality as a service being offered through different industries. Some applications, the most obvious one that we always hear is real estate, obviously, for properties that are listed on sale, or for rental properties, vacation rentals, so on and so forth. There is a broader use case in insurance. We are actually talking to some of the tier 1 insurance companies, both in US as well as in Europe, where the goal is to enable them to do underwriting inspections remotely, as well as claims inspections remotely, enable their adjusters and restoration companies to be able to see the damage, inspect it, assess it, and come up with the preliminary estimates of the damage, all done remotely. Basically, that cuts into the whole claims processing time and kicks off the repair work faster. Then similarly in the mortgage lending business, enable the appraisers to do the property appraisal remotely without the need to physically visit any property. And for that can be true for whether it's a new loan or a refinancing. And then, of course, in the travel, tourism, and hospitality, whether it's Airbnb hosts, VRBO, or small and large hotels, we have already started seeing a shift from the regular 2-dimensional photographs into the virtual reality space, with our ability to, with us giving them the ability to do that without spending thousands and thousands of dollars on cameras that Matterport and Ricoh, some of our competitors, offer. We enable them to do it. Just as long as you have a smartphone, you can build a high quality 3D virtual tours. Some differentiators, as I mentioned, the key competitors in this space, Matterport and Ricoh, they usually require professional to come to your property and do it. They also require their own camera that you have to purchase, or you have to hire somebody who has purchased it. Their processing time usually varies from 24 to 48 hours, whereas with us, it's done in minutes. Average time, I would say, is under 30 minutes for any 3D space. There may be outliers, I would say 5% of the cases. And then one-click share on any social media. So Zillow is one company that is the closest in terms of the competition through their Zillow Home 3D app. But the limitation there is, again, they don't allow you to share it on social media. It's not open. It's only limited to Zillow's website and Zillow's agents. Whereas with us, you can actually share on any social media with a single click, or WhatsApp or email, or you name it. And then price point, another thing is because we are enabling people to do it through their smartphone. It can be scaled on a very large volume basis because it's a subscription model. So it's 99 cents per month per virtual tour per month. And of course, with the B2B approach, when there are insurance companies, when they do minimum volume commitment, that price can be further optimized.
Thanks, Nishan.
There is a couple of demos that I'm not going to go into because of the lack of time. But
is up.
Some traction ideas. We are currently working with real estate agents and brokers across a couple of different states in US. In Asia, in North India's #1 home builder is one of our customers. And then we are in pretty advanced conversations with tier 1 insurance companies, as I mentioned earlier, in both in US and Europe, as well as in India. So 3 different continents. Just to give you some reference, we actually launched this product in December of 2019, so it's only been 4.5, 5 months. Just to give you an idea of the traction and the time period for that traction.
Sure. Nishan, this is Sunil. Today, even Facebook lets you do 3D kind of video or the images using a simple smartphone. How do you compete with them, or how do you differentiate between that and your product?
Yeah, so there is, you'll see the videos, and that's very different than what we are offering. So if you actually capture a 3D video, first of all, there is the space and the storage limitation that comes along with it, and it's not that easy to actually share it across. Whereas in our case, we are actually hosting everything on our cloud, and it's simply a link that can be shared instantly with anyone. Whereas and as long as you have an active subscription with us, you maintain that subscription, you have access to that. 3D video works very differently, and it's not going to capture your dimensions of the property. So you won't get an actual idea of the room sizes when you're looking at it through the Facebook either. So that's the second differentiator.
Okay. You've been in the business for the last 4 months. Do you have any revenue right now, or it's too early to ask that question?
No, so as I said, we have customers. We are launching, so we launched the iOS version in December, and that's when we started getting a lot of interest, and finally we have some customers. But the condition for them to start paying us is we have to also launch the Android version, because every company has a mix of both Android and iOS. And so actually we're a week away. So I've been with the team actually most of the night last night. We're a week away from launching our Android platform. So from June onwards, we'll start having our revenue.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
Can you talk a little about the frequency of use, let's say by industry? So let's say in the real estate industry, if it's $1 a month, on average, a listing might be on for 2 months. So that's $2. And the average real estate agent, I'm making it up, I don't know, 10 listings a year, something like that. So how does that dovetail with your acquisition costs by industry?
Yeah, so just to give you an idea, right? Every industry has a different use case. Short answer, real estate, you will see 2 different use cases. The one that you mentioned is the properties that are being sold. And for that, each agent may have 10 to 20 properties in a typical housing season that they subscribe for 2 2 months or so average. But then there is also the rental properties for which both the short-term and the long-term rentals, and there is more significant application and a longer-term recurring revenue for those, where you don't only need, for vacation rentals, it's an ongoing thing. You never get rid of the subscription. For the longer-term rentals, even after you get the tenant into the property, there is a security aspect of it where we actually give them an audit trail. So you know the condition of the property before the tenant moves in, during and after. And that helps, that's another reason why property managers would want to maintain access to the virtual tours for their tenants on an ongoing basis rather than just until the tenant moves in. So that's for the real estate. And of course, for the insurance, it's actually from compliance perspective, they have to keep it anywhere from like 6 to 10 years. So it's not just a one-time thing, even though the claims average number of virtual tours, I would say minimum will be 2. It can go higher than that, but the minimum number of virtual tours will be 2, but the duration will be 6 years or more.
So insurance, it sounds like you have a much higher average revenue per user, like like an enterprise insurance company that has to keep this long
Same
history.
with the mortgage lending as well, same thing.
Got it.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, time's up, and if you have any questions, you can ask directly or maybe after all competitions.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And actually, just one clarifying point, this add-ons is some of the other stuff like 3D modeling and other features that are going to be launched soon for those if people want. These are premium features that they can pay more to subscribe.
Don't get greedy. Your time is up. Come on.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you, Nishan. Thanks. And we are moving next. And just one remarks again for judges. You don't need to push any buttons to confirm your voting. Just put the marks and that's all. And you can change it anytime till we will close the voting. And yeah. So next is a startup Prom Social and Edward. Edward, do you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Okay, hi.
How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for having me at this event. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah, yes, we can see and hear.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay, my name is Ed Abdulmalik, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Prom Social. I'm sure many of you, or at least many of the folks in the U.S., I'm sure, have attended their high school prom and recall how stressful and overwhelming it was to plan for that big night. That's why I created Prom Social. Prom Social, just jump to the next slide, is a mobile app that makes the entire prom experience fun and stress-free. Our mission is to make prom fun, safe, and affordable for all students. In terms of the market size, there's about 17 million kids in high school across the US. The average prom goer spends about $919 on the prom experience from planning through execution, creating a $4 billion plus industry spend just in the US alone. In terms of the problem we're solving for, with the many important details that pertain to prom, teens have been left confused and overwhelmed with the entire prom planning process. They're left to figure out what they're gonna wear, how they're gonna get to prom, who's gonna take the prom pictures, and most importantly, who's gonna be their date. The prom industry is completely fragmented and there's no one-stop shop for everything prom, and that's what Prom Social does. It creates that one-stop shop experience for these kids. We started this company because we wanted to take away the many common stresses that teens face for planning from the big night. We provided a platform that allows them to plan all of the details, from finding a date to planning and sharing and organizing their parties, to sharing what they're wearing, to staying up to date on everything that's happening in terms of their big event. The app is simple. You download it on Google Play or the iOS store. You sign up, you join your high school and your prom, and then you can go ahead and take advantage of the many features that Prom Social has to offer, from shopping through the market directory to chatting with other folks, seeing what other people are doing for prom, and organizing and showing off what you're doing for prom as well. In terms of the key features, I'm just going to play a quick short demo to kind of jump and show you some of that. Okay, so that kind of give you an idea of some of the key features in terms of how we make money. Basically, the core concept is just connecting prom retailers with the prom goers in our app. So we've built a subscription-based model where we charge $39.99 a month for a retailer to be listed on our platform. We haven't built out the marketplace aspect in terms of having our retailers be able to list their products on our platform, but we do have the directory listing set up where they can kind of show off, you know, a lot of their products and services, manage their logistical contact information, and connect directly with our users. Eventually, though, the next step is to, you know, layer on that commission on top of the marketplace listing fee once we get retailers to be able to list products in our platform. And we'll also obviously make money through ads as well. So just as Zola and The Knot, which I'm sure you're familiar with from the wedding industry, did for weddings, we're doing the same for the prom industry. In terms of user interaction.
Edward, times is up. You can just finish shortly.
Okay, real quick, traction-wise, we've launched our open beta in February of 2019. We've acquired 11,000 users to date and have a target of 15,000, which we think will surpass this year. In terms of revenue, we launched our marketplace in late January, and our goal is to get to $10,000 in revenue this year, and hopefully with the backing of investment, can reach these other goals that we have. And we're seeking to raise $500,000 in exchange for 10% equity. 80% of that will go towards sales and marketing, 20% for development. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So how do you grow and prosper in a post-COVID world when people are back using, you know, getting together and not necessarily inclined to want or need an app? What does that mean for you and your business?
Yeah, so we're starting to pivot a bit, and you know, some of the money that, you know, in terms of the investment, what we'd be using is to build out live streaming and virtual prom party experiences, you know, due to the crisis and you know, to support the current state.
Ed, what does your research tell you about the future of this industry? Teach us, educate us.
Yeah, so I don't think prom just goes away. I think it's obviously one of the biggest events in a teen's life, and it's unfortunate for the students who had to, you know, go through the crisis this year and deal with the pandemic and having their proms canceled across the country. But I do think that this is an event that comes back next year and continues to be an important event that will take place in a teen's life every single year.
Ed,
I'm sorry. Why should we invest now and not wait for another 7 or 8 months before we take an investment?
Well, we are runners up for Shark Tank as well, so that's coming up. You know, we're in the auditions for season 12, and you know, I think it's a great opportunity to get in. I think while, you know, everybody is probably sleeping on this industry, we're working hard on building out our product to continue to be a leader in the space, and we're the only people doing this in the prom space right now.
Ed, this is Bill Baker. You mentioned a couple of players in the wedding space.
Yeah.
Previously, I'm sorry I didn't get the names, but it seems, you know, a kind of logical move for them to sort of transition into an adjacent space like prom. Okay. Yeah. You know, they have the infrastructure, they have the revenues, they have certainly the brand, and in many cases the customers. You know, I never did go to prom, for full disclosure, but prom is really driven by the young ladies, not necessarily by the guys.
That's right.
So it's just like much like a wedding. So why wouldn't they just go into an adjacent space and you know, and kind of, you know, eliminate any competition, or at least make it a lot more difficult?
Well, those platforms that I mentioned are focused in the wedding industry and are just focused on directing traffic to obviously those retailers, where we've taken that business model, but also layered on the social aspect of it and layered on that social network aspect of it, which they haven't been able to do. So that's kind of our competitive advantage in that space.
And maybe I didn't ask the question correctly, so let me rephrase it. Okay.
Just shortly.
The fact that they haven't been able to do that doesn't mean they can't. Okay, with, you know, relatively short, you know, turn of the rudder. Just thinking about potential competition for you in the future, especially if it's successful.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's an opportunity for us to, you know, partner with those companies in the future. And yeah, they could come into this industry, but it's not easy to just flip on a social network overnight that has a lot of the key features and functionality that we've built out. That's why I think we'll continue to be a leader in this space, specifically for prom. They're focused on weddings. They do weddings well, and that's where I think they're going to continue to focus their business.
Okay, good luck.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Thank
thanks. And time is up. We have to move next. Thanks, Edward.
Thank you.
You can share your information via chat.
Will do.
Okay, and the next startup is Definer. And Jason.
Hey everyone.
Your turn, yeah. Welcome.
Thanks for having me here. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, make it full. Yeah, nice.
Okay, it's good. Hi everyone. This is Jason, the founder and CEO of Definer, a decentralized finance innovator. I still remember, like, many years ago when I graduated from the college and earned my first paycheck, super excited like any other millennials. But however, soon I realized there's a problem. All of my savings sit in my bank account and earn zero interest. Then I realized this is not only my problem, not only my generation's problem. It's a problem for everybody, for business, for consumer, for everybody. Why? Even we have a centralized organization lower the interest rate. However, the small medium-sized business, they still hardly to get the capital. And even they can get capital, also get high cost, because there is a centralized financial intermediaries earns trillions of dollars away from people. Even people like us and business owners have so much cash on their savings account earn zero interest. Luckily enough, many years ago, 3 years ago, when I get to know blockchain technology, also I was starting my CFA. This is the aha moment. That is the birth of Definer, a true peer-to-peer network for digital savings, loans, and payment. Within our solutions, people can manage their digital asset through our digital wallet, get their savings very deposited and withdraw very easily, and earn interest, definitely not zero. Also get a loan very easily, can pay each other very smoothly. The most important thing, everyone will connect with each other without financial intermediaries. We understand we dream big, but we need to start steady, step by step. We have made it available through all kinds of devices. Through our solutions, lenders provide capital directly to the borrowers, and borrowers get the capital, generate profit, and return back the interest to the community. And we return 90% of all the interest back to the lenders. We only keep 10%. Why we are better? In these ways, we lower down the financial transaction cost, automate the whole process, and the borrowers will get a much cheaper loan instantly. Lenders will get a higher return with low risk. Also, the community will grow together. The digital asset market grows rapidly. Within last year alone, the market size grows 10 times, and it keeps growing. Also, since the start of the company in February 2018 in Minneapolis, we have been mentioned through all big media like Bloomberg, Yahoo Finance. Also, we are named one of 8 companies, fintech, to startup to watch out by Fintech Magazine this year. Also, we are backed by the best investors, NextQ, Techstars, and Blockchain Founders Fund. We cannot make this happen without our awesome team, from young women leadership to technology leaders, from people in the corporate to the Federal Reserves. This is Definer, Decentralized Finance Innovator, to define the future of open finance. And I welcome you everyone to join us now to build this journey together, or I'm sure you will join later in the future to use our solutions or similar solutions. Thank you. And we are raising, start from July, and raising 2 million safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Just the right time.
Jason, this is Jordan. Can you tell me in 4 sentences what you do?
We provide a network to facilitate lending and borrowing transactions. Basically, small medium-sized business can get a loan from us, and consumers can deposit their savings to the network, which is a non-custodian financial network, and earn interest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Could you talk a little about your traction to date? So you've launched, you've been in the market now for about a year.
We launched our last version peer-to-peer platform, and we processed around $1 million loans, and we are going to launch our second release next month. That's why we will plan to raise after next month's release. We have secured a strategic partnership, and soon this year we can boost our capital under management around 2 to 3 millions, and we will be around top 20 for this whole industry.
Do you have any assets under management right now? I didn't quite understand.
Yes, we have right now for our peer-to-peer loan, we have $1 million loans going through our platform right now. For the savings account, it's been through the testing, and we have around 50,000 assets under management right now.
Okay, thank you. And then can you talk a little bit on your go-to-market, like how you plan to acquire the two sides, the borrowers and the lenders?
Yeah, we have built the strategic partners within this blockchain industry, and we will go with the business customers first, like a blockchain mining company, blockchain capital company, a blockchain exchange. Those people are who already holding the digital asset and the US dollar loans, and they will be our major source to accumulate the savings and US dollars. And from another side, you know, there's like a blockchain startup, blockchain, even the mining companies, and they will borrow money from us. So our strategy is to build our partnership and relationships and with the business, then go together with the business to promote to the consumers, because each business has their own consumer base.
Hey, hi, this is Neil. How do you establish the factor of trust? Because it's an open network. And apart from the blockchain, which is an open ledger.
Yeah, so all the savings capital will be secured through the smart contract, which is held on the blockchain. And that's also our key competitiveness, because not many people have the technology team to build a very super secure contract lending and borrowing activities. And through the smart contract, they only execute based on the pre-built logic. So basically, if you default, and your collateral will be liquidated on the market to return back to the lenders. And all these rules built in the smart contract on the blockchain.
Jason, you didn't speak to the question. How do you get the consumer to trust you?
So for the consumers, our current customers, they understand the blockchain business, so they trust the code we build, and it's open source, and it's audited, and we also have the insurance. So in this way, and they will trust the platform itself.
I think you talked about the implementation of the trust, but the question here is, when I'm lending someone money or I'm borrowing money from someone, it's always easy to borrow the money, but how do I know that my money is going to come back?
It's all collateralized loan. So if someone default, their collateral will be sold on the market and return that to you. Right now, it's all collateralized loan. It's all over collateralized loan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Tamza.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Leave
you,
my
Jason.
email. Right, thank you.
Thanks. And we are moving next. Next startup is Tone Chat and Adil.
Can you hear me?
It's quite bad to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, good.
Okay, that is great. I'm going to share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm Adil. I'm founder of Town Chat.
Can you make it full screen, Adil? Can you make it full screen?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yeah. Nice.
Okay. I'm Adil. I'm founder of Town Chat. Town Chat is a social media app where we are applying artificial intelligence and machine learning to allow users and tourists to search local people and brands in the town and connect with them. Our value proposition, TownChat will automatically translate all messages, including text on images, in primary language of users. All messages, including group messages, will be translated in the primary language of user. If a user selects French as a primary language and the sender has English as the primary language, the receiver will be receiving all the messages in French and he will be replying in French, and the other user will be getting all messages in English automatically. Opportunity. Tourists need some app for making friends with locals. There are 1.5 billion international tourist arrivals and 4% annual growth and 4 million arrivals per day. Our solution is app that will allow users to search other users based on city name, town chat ID and name, and then allow them live streaming, and then translate messages, and will allow brands to use our channels for marketing of their content. Our business model is a 3-tier plan: premium, standard, and essential plan. And essential plan is for brands and enterprises, standard is for individuals and service providers, and premium is for small businesses. Our mobile market size is 10.5 billion and is projected to grow by 2024 by 25 billion with 18.9% compound annual growth rate. Our competitors are WhatsApp, WeChat, and Nextdoor. This is our competitive advantage. We have facial recognition. Users will be taking selfie while signing up. And then we have meetup rooms for tourists, messages in local language, content filtration, scheduled messages and campaigns, hyper personalization for brands, and social media integration for brands. And these are our partners. We are a member of Plug and Play, and then we have recently been admitted in NVIDIA Inception program, and then our technology has been verified by Aero Electronics, and we have also done some initial contracts with Samsung, Huawei, and Oppo. These are our metrics for our MVP. We started validation of our MVP in October 2019 with 100 users, but we ended up by 31st of March with 306 users with 90% convergence who signed up for our incoming content marketing solution, giving us a test MRR of 5.4K and 30% month-over-month user growth and 90% net promoter score. These are our mentions. We stood finalists in Pepperdine University's most fundable competition and among top 100 in Startup Istanbul, and we got honorable mention in Family Office Funding Challenge. Our ask is $500,000, and this is our investment split. How the money will be used: 45% on operations, 25% on marketing, 10% on R&D, legal, and then on hiring. And this is our roadmap. We aim to launch our app commercially by Q3 of 2020. And these are our founders. We have veterans from Google, Dell, Cisco, KPMG, Deloitte, State Street Capital, Dexter, Scotland, CompTIA.
Thanks, Adil. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, Adil.
Is this an app?
Adil again. I have a question. So how do you generate the contents? Is it user generated? Are you guys maybe web crawling, some other services like Yelp and Velocity? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yes, actually, for content marketing, if you are asking about content marketing, the content marketing will be for brands and other enterprises, and they will be sharing their own content. We will be just providing them hyper personalization, and we will be providing them some recommendations that what do people like and what do people don't like on our app, and what are the interests of users, so that they could keep it in line with their interest. And for app, yeah, this is just like a social media app, social networking app, but we are ahead of WhatsApp and WeChat and even you can say Facebook, because we will allow searching people based on their township ID and city name, and people will not need to share their phone number to connect with others. They will just follow other users, and upon following back, they will start sending messages and receiving messages.
Any other questions?
I will probably go with it. Hi, my name is Anastasia. The quick question regarding it is, do you consider online dating applications actually as one of the competitors? Because based on the knowledge I have, like those applications as Tinder and etc. being widely used actually between the travelers, not just for the dates, but actually for meeting people and pretty much for the same purpose as you address. Can you please comment on it and
Yes,
feedback?
yes. Yes, you are right. Actually, we are different from them because we are providing interest-based and profession-based matching system using our artificial intelligence algorithm. And then we have meetup rooms, online meetup rooms, and people who will choose that they are open to connect with tourists. They will be able to receive meetup requests, and before meeting them in person, we will provide them an opportunity to connect through audio or video session, and then share their township ID with each other so that they can follow each other and they can stay in contact. And then we are also putting them in contact with local brands. We are also providing local brands a space to show their products and their content to travelers and tourists and other local users.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So 30 seconds. Anyone else can ask something?
What is the impact of COVID on your startup?
Yes, for the impact of COVID, when we started our beta testing, MVP testing, COVID was there, and our initial 300 users who signed up on app for MVP testing, they were actually travelers and tourists who used to go to other countries for tourism, and they made their connections with each other through our app, and they did not know each other before this time, and some of them, they planned their future travel with their local friends, and after the end of COVID, yeah, and they continue using our app, and they are still using it. And after COVID,
If I'm not mistaken, you did your MVP trials in October last year.
Yeah, in October, but we ended up in March, 31st of March. We closed all our signups for new signups for our MVP. And till that time, yeah, there were people from China, there were people from US, UK, Ukraine, and other countries. There were people from 15 countries who signed up for our MVP.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Adil. And we are moving next. So next startup is AR Wall, but probably they have an internet problem. And AR Wall, are you hear me, Jade?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Give me one moment. I'm sharing my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Hello, I'm Eric Navarrete. I'm co-founder and Mark. Yes?
Yeah, full screen. Oh, yeah, now it's okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Go
Co-founder, chief marketing officer of ARWall. We specialize in AR, XR solutions for film, TV, retail, and experientials. We have two products. I'd like to start with our film tool, ARFX. If you wanted to use existing virtual production tools, you'd be facing what you see on the left, a complicated interface and at least 60 pages of setup documentation. Ours is on the right. If you've ever set up a second monitor for your computer, you already have the expertise needed. Our patented calibration software, XR Sync, takes one button press in 5 seconds, and it currently takes a team of engineers hours to do the same with other products. The next evolution for us with this is making this available for creators stuck in quarantine. ARFX Home Studio is an all-in-one hardware, software solution for actors, for hosts, influencers, etc. We're offering a monthly subscription with a library of stock environments and creative support. Our first batch is expected to be at least 100 units, 2 million in initial revenue with 200,000 MRR. Our goal for batch 2 is to bring costs down to scale with scaling, generate 6x initial revenue and over 1.5 million in MRR. This is our second product. This is ARWall Interactive. It's consumer facing and ideal for places such as theater lobbies where you might want users to engage with an upcoming release, or a transportation hub like an airport where you want users to access departure information or check-in, and FECs where gamers can engage in experiences beyond what is capable from their home console or PCs. Our system is scalable and can accommodate any space. ARWall Interactive requires no headset, no goggles, no wearables. It doesn't even require a dedicated employee to run it. We're trying to make it as simple as possible for brands to create XR experiences for their locations that is plug and play, ready to use, that's hygienic, and that gets people off their phones and engaged. There we go. So, touch-free in real time. We believed that before, and we believe that even more so now in the midst of the pandemic. Here's how we're helping brands move forward. Our systems, the arrays have IR sensors that can detect temperature, heart rate, and other wellness indicators. We have onboard mics that can identify characteristic dry cough and heavy breathing. And if needed, our system can notify a responsible body or notify the user directly that they may be ill. For highly trafficked spaces, going touch-free is no longer a nice to have, but likely going to be a mandate in the future. And we think this technology will be essential as we transition from current to post-pandemic life. These are two of our most recent clients. I'm happy to forward the case studies to anyone who's interested in looking them over. And here's a summary of our accomplishments. We started with 51,000 founder funded. That got our initial R&D done. We raised 2 million in a series seed. Right now we have 2 patents awarded and 3 more pending and 11 trademarks worldwide. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Great presentation, man. Loved it. How much you're raising? Give me the terms and take me back to the COVID thing real quick.
Sure. So we were raising 10 million. We're now currently reevaluating that though, because we started the raise prior to the pandemic and market expectations have changed, adoption has changed. I'd be more than happy to connect with you though, with our CFO, so you could talk that over. As far as the pandemic related stuff, all of our experientials are run basically through user interaction. So we're tracking people's body positions, we're tracking their eye lines, we're tracking the movements that they're making, and that powers the interaction based on what the brand wants. So for instance, with the M&M's slide that I showed briefly, they wanted to play a mini game, right? So we're tracking all of those things in the background passively. What we can do is take the wellness indicators that I spoke of and feed that information to the responsible body. So if we set up an installation in an airport, for instance, where people are checking in to get their tickets, we could be passively checking temperature and breathing, and potentially notify, you know, that airport that this individual may be sick, and encourage them to check in with a wellness center. It could be something along those lines. It depends on what the venue or the space wants to use that information for.
Is that a real thing, or is that a thought?
No, it's something that's already possible right now.
So what do you want from us? You don't need money. Looks like you're doing good. What are you doing here?
What we want right now is actually more clients. We had a lot of business lined up prior to the pandemic, and then obviously that sort of fell apart. What we're most interested in really is getting the interactive kiosks out there into public spaces to show off the usefulness. So we're looking for responsible spaces that are planning on opening soon, and that are looking for ways to entice audiences to come back, whether that's movie theaters or malls or the like. We'd like to partner with them to give them not only experiences that can drive traffic, but also make them feel a little bit more safe, knowing that perhaps there's some background tracking that's happening that could protect the crowd that's gathering there.
Can you talk a little about your unit economics? I saw that you retail that the units are 12 to 20,000 and your margin's 50%, so your COGS is 6 to 10,000. Is that, did I get that correctly?
Sure, that's for the home unit, the film tool that you're speaking of, right?
Yeah, and also I was more focused on the enterprise, so help me understand the enterprise economics.
Sure. So the unit economics, it basically breaks down to two different things. There are two products that we're trying to sell, right? One is the home studio tool, and we're talking with agencies, with studios, and with content creators to try to figure out how much power they need to have in those machines. You know, we initially built machines for feature films and for television production, which is possibly overkill for most home studios. So they don't necessarily need the amount of hardware inside of it that, for instance, you would need on a major TV production. So we're working with them to try to figure out how to scale back so that it's still a robust offering, but still gives them an edge over, you know, sitting in front of their bookshelf or simply putting up a green screen behind them. So it's a little bit squishy on that, and we're still coming with the final term for that. The unit figure that we have pretty much firmly in place is our interactive kiosk, which you saw a version of that in the M&M slide. That is currently priced at $15,000 for that freestanding kiosk. It's a TV, it's the hardware for the tracking solution, it's a computer, and it's the kiosk itself. We can scale up. We have some partners that are producing those right now. So the unit cost is 15, and really where we're making the money is the content creation and the creative services. So we basically get, for instance, a mall on the hook. Maybe they install 2 of these units, but we're rolling out fresh content every month, every quarter, every 6 months, however often they want it. And we're simply updating the content that's on the system. So potentially these units, once they're installed, will be evergreen. There will always be new content on it.
Thank you.
Since you need a lot of focus on content services, right? Building new content services on this digital platforms. This is more like a services game rather than a product. How do you scale this?
So we're not focused.
Just very quick. Very quick.
We're not explicitly focused on the content itself. We're more focused on building a network that can accommodate it. So, for instance, if we were to sell 1,000 units across the nation to a mall, right? To a mall series, we could work with the advertisers that they already have in-house, the marketing teams that they've already have on commission, and show them how to format the content for the system itself. And then what we're simply doing is gathering the annual licensing fees or the quarterly license fees, depending on how they wanted to structure the arrangement with us. So we wouldn't have to be on the hook to create every piece of content that goes on there, but we would be collecting revenue for them to maintain the system and to have it constantly be updated and all of that.
Thanks, sir. And thanks for presentation. It was great. Now we are moving next, and the next startup is Real Key. Yeah, and Christopher.
Perfect. Give me 1 second here. All right. And hi, my name is Christopher Hussain. I'm the CEO and founder of Real Key, arguably one of the most successful individuals in a very large but cumbersome and inefficient space, getting a mortgage. So getting a mortgage is very costly and time consuming and frustrating because there's a lot of documentation needed by a lot of different parties. So there's a lot of back and forth throughout the process. There's unfortunately not been a whole lot of innovation in this space. It's enough to give anybody PTSD. Now, especially for our paying users, the lenders, they have an infinite pipeline of these trauma-inducing transactions. So what we've gone through and done is after a loan application's been taken and credit's been ran, we have them export a file to us so that we can go through and use our extensive algorithms to decide what documents are needed by what individuals, invite them in. Then we also invite in who needs access to that so they can chat and communicate in one single space, not to have to call and email each other as we go through and we gather all the right documentation the first time and then stack those for the underwriters so that it's in a beautiful package with cover letters that explain how we got to different calculations and what we did and did not get, eliminating a lot of back and forth. In this space, we're fortunate to be in a first mover advantage here, filling in the gaps of a lot of the products that currently exist rather than competing with them, which is great for our marketing. We charge $99 per month per user. That's a loan officer, a processor, underwriter, or manager. We've been profitable all the way through October of last year and expect to more than triple our user base with our new product coming out in early Q3. We have a lot of additional revenue streams to go through and to add to our current revenue that we have existing. We do this by focusing on brokers and non-bank lenders, shorter sales cycles with them. We could walk into an office typically owned by the manager and then get to their corporate office very quickly. We've partnered with the 5th largest mortgage lender in the US, Flagstar Bank. We're talking with a lot of other large lenders and have the National Association of Realtors as both an investor and also as one of our evangelists. We've proven out a low cost of acquisition per client of $20 to $30 per user. They don't tend to churn. Once they find a product they love, they stick with it. We're very fortunate there. We also have a Ocean's 11 team here, including the TurboTax design lead, the largest software platform in the US, ZipLogix, head of business development and strategic partnerships, as well as a slew of great advisors. COVID's been great for us. We've been growing by 50 to 100 new users on a weekly basis, which equates to 60 to 120,000 ARR, which is amazing. That's for our new product coming out. And we've also identified a new addressable market in the loan servicers, since people who cannot get a refinance are starting to need loan modifications, which we expect to be exacerbated over the next 12 to 24 months. We have some great exits potential as we continue to grow the product and feature set. We have potential for IPO as well as because of profitability, dividends, returns. So a lot of different options for exits. We're raising $1.5 million to grow our sales and support team at $7 million valuation, 3% interest, 2-year term, 20% discount. We've already raised 2 out of the 3 goal that we've got and would love for you guys to join us. Thank you, and I'd like to open up to questions.
Thank you. Thanks, Christopher.
And apologies for going so quickly, 3 minutes. We'll try to squish as much as we can.
It's right time. Thanks for, yeah, appreciate it.
Okay,
sure there is something burning behind you?
Yes, always. We're on fire.
Our world is burning.
I have a question. Is your product more integration with the lender systems, or is it the full-fledged system?
We don't have to actually integrate with lenders. We use a universal file format that contains all the information on the loan and the loan application. So we don't actually have to integrate directly with anybody. We can focus on the feature sets to add more impact to the product and continue to customize it for the third parties and other users. So they'll be pushing it onto our paying users, the lenders.
I have a question, if you don't mind. What are the current sales and the unit of economics? What's the projections?
Yes, so right now we're doing $99 per month per user. We also have per transaction fees we plan to charge as we start to integrate more with the lender's pricing engines. As far as the sales, right now we have 761 paying users on our original product, and we already are nearing about 300 new users in just the last month that we've started to pre-sale with credit cards, terms of service, privacy policy agreed to for the new product, which focuses more on documentation than loan applications. Any other questions? Great. If there's no other questions, I'd love to speak to you further. Please give us a call. We've got Thai Angels of SoCal joining the round. Pasadena Angels, our second largest investor, is actually increasing their investment. We're also talking to Harvard Business Alumni Angels and have some VCs from some of the mentors there. And then also Two Enable Partners, our largest investor, just put in an additional 100,000, expanding their current investment in the company. So appreciate it, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Christopher, and share your information in the chat. Yeah. So we are moving next, and the next startup is Warm Intro and Nolan.
Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So hello, I'm Nolan, CTO and co-founder of Warm Intro, and we make it easy for anyone to create, scale, and monetize their very own online community. So right now, if you run any sort of community, it probably looks something like this. People are hacking together makeshift communities using a pile of tools. Some are run on Slack, some have Facebook groups. If you're really unlucky, it's on a LinkedIn group. And many are just mailing lists and spreadsheets. I'm in over 10 different Slack communities at this point, and I can't say I check any of them often or know the other people in them. And this is the norm. This is how communities are run. What we have done with Warm Intro is turn this pile of tools into one simple system. We give each of our communities their own private branded space to onboard their members, host discussions and events, collect payments, and make warm introductions to each other. It's a single place where your community can go to get all the information they need. And not only that, we make sure we will not become yet another app you have to remember to check. All of our biggest features are built to operate through email and personal calendars. So this means you can have actively engaged members in the community who don't have to remember to log back in after sign up. And what we find is actually this is really powerful. We are currently in our pilot period working with a select number of communities to build up our core features. We focus on professional communities. Our customers include incubators and accelerators, networking groups, corporate innovation programs, and even other SaaS products that want to give access to their community as part of their offering. And the engagement, as you can see, has been even better than we thought, and we think pretty big. Because we know and track how each member engages, we end up with a very powerful set of data that we can feed into machine learning layers to make Warm Intro even better, to the point where anyone with a network or mailing list can create a turnkey self-run community. So what Twitch TV did for streamers and Shopify did for small boutiques, Warm Intro will do for communities. And speaking of collecting a bunch of data, don't worry, we do not and will not run ads or sell personal data. I think a third of our customers come from Facebook groups, and their biggest concern is privacy. So we are focused on having a tiered SaaS pricing, monthly or yearly for each community. And we also take a % on membership dues and event payments managed through the platform. For our round, it actually comes at an interesting time with COVID-19. Suddenly, any and every community's top priority is to get a fully featured online component. So we're drowning in demo requests, and our goal is to scale up a team to take advantage of what is an opportunity for us. I think I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to go pretty fast. My co-founder and I are always here to answer any questions, so don't hesitate to email us. I'll post it in the chat. And thank you.
Thank you, Nolan. So now, any questions or suggestions?
Hi, can you please tell a little bit more about the marketing strategy we have behind?
For marketing, we actually don't, we've done zero marketing and zero outreach, and our demos are full every week. We have, I think, around 8 to 9 hours we leave open, and those are like just packed. So we have a list right now of over 200 potential communities that have reached out to us that would like to be customers. And we, right now, we're in our pilot period, so each of our communities are very high touch. So one of the goals coming up will be to streamline everything so we can open up kind of the floodgates to all the communities that have reached out already.
So is this more like Nextdoor for virtual community? Nextdoor is for physical communities, right? So is this something like the Nextdoor? Because I can get intros there too for physical communities.
It is not really. We don't consider them a competitor or look at them as active in the space. So we are focused on professional communities. So a lot of, say, an incubator will host their events and have member discussions generated over email and make introductions between members, investors, startups. And this is all run through the system and data collected. So it's pretty professionally focused in terms of communities.
Correct. So there are some mentor hubs right now. There are a lot of products on mentoring, okay, which allow you to connect various types of people in a community, like particularly for startup communities.
Yeah.
So how do you pitch against them?
So what we focus on and our kind of guiding light has always been connection. So every feature we build, we think about how can we connect the members, how through warm introductions, through like if you've heard of Lunch Club, through generated lunches that get planned for the members within each community. So we really focus hard on actually getting people to know each other and connect within the whole community, not just mentor-mentee.
What would make people pay for this? I mean, there are a lot of services and communities that come for free from bigger organizations, but what is the main differential point that will make people pay for your service?
Yep. So one of the things we did with our pilots is make sure all of our communities are paid. We wanted to validate that it's easy to say you'll pay for something, but until it actually comes down to it, you never know. So we made sure from day one that this is something people will pay for. And a lot of our customers have moved away from Slack, have moved away from these free tools because each free tool does one thing. And they string together, 10, 20 of these tools, and it becomes a giant mess and headache. My co-founder, Irene, used to run an incubator called the Monarch Incubator. This is where Warm Intro originally came from. And she was dealing with this exact problem, where she at some point was using over a dozen tools and countless emails and spreadsheets, and her daily work was kind of monkey tasks, not stuff she was actually should be doing or what her value was.
Okay, thanks. And time is up. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
So, and we have the last but not least startup is Enable and Tommy.
We don't hear you.
Tommy, yeah.
Tommy, we don't hear you.
Tommy? Yeah, now we can hear you.
Perfect. Great. I'm Tommy Weir, the founder and CEO of Enable, and I'm excited to share with you what we're up to. We're solving the largest problem that enterprise companies are facing today. Pre-COVID-19, productivity was flat for companies, and employees were working more hours than they ever had in modern history. And COVID-19 has actually exacerbated this problem. With the change of the world that's facing and the nature of the remote work, companies are sitting today saying they need to grow their productivity, They want visibility on how employees are working, not so that they can monitor them with a heavy hand, but so they can turn those hours worked into productive hours, and so that they can actually help employees no matter where they're working. With this in mind, the first part of that, not the second part, we actually built Enable, which is an AI-powered productivity. We take the data that company has already in their ERP systems, their CRMs, their communication systems. We take the timestamp tables out of that, and we wrote an algorithm that figures out what changes each employee needs to do to become as productive as possible. The central feature of Enable is a job and industry agnostic productivity score, so that companies can compare their productivity between employees and then make recommendations to help those employees get better. Inside the product, there's the productivity score. We added in a remote working score following COVID-19. In addition to that, there's targets that are set by the companies, time budget, and a work optimizer. And then most specifically, the feature that really drives this and brings it home to the change on the bottom line is a leadership recommender, which makes recommendations that are targeted and prioritized for each employee to help them become the best they can. In addition to what's gone on during COVID-19, we were very honored to be named a Gartner Cool Vendor in the HCM space for the work that we're doing. And the pricing model is we charge $144,000 for an initial deployment. And then from there, on our land and expand model, we charge $144 annually per employee as we roll out. We currently have $100,000 of ARR in 3 customers. We have $130,000 ARR in 3 customers. By the end of this year, we'll have 2.75 million ACV, as we have fantastic traction. In the last 8 weeks, we've added $1.8 million to our pipeline, including the likes of Delta, CVS, Marriott, Medtronic, McDermott, Philip Morris, LL Bean just recently came in as well. Our team, we've built a fantastic team of rock stars. Our data scientists both come from the theoretical side. Mustafa specifically was published his master's thesis with a Nobel laureate. Jeet Shangari, our CTO, came to us from AWS, where he led the Salesforce account there. And Joe's got 10 years startup sales experience in the SaaS area, and he's quite aggressive and hungry. We're raising $2 million, and the $2 million, the predominant reason for this right now is to realize the opportunity in the market today. And if you're looking for an opportunity to have an economic impact, a societal impact, and a corporate impact, Enable is a great investment for you, and the time to invest is right now, because the attention of the C-suites and the board of directors is in our area right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tommy. And now any questions?
Hi, this is Catherine. Can you please elaborate on how do you calculate the productivity score that you're giving?
Yeah, so the algorithm is called the trigger task time, and what it does is it separates what's the work on the process line that could be causing complication from the task from the individual. And then we wrote a custom loss function that is able to determine the fastest sustainable time that every trigger task combination should be going at. And our productivity score is comprised of capacity utilization, answering how will you use the hours in a day, consistency, how likely are you to work as you have before, and quality impact, which is answering are others more or less productive as a result of your work.
Walk me through the mechanics of how does it work?
Sorry?
The mechanics of it. I get all the high level strategic verbiage, I just don't know how it's going to affect me as an employer or employee. What changes in my behavior as an employee or employer to measure this magical number?
Fantastic. I'll use a couple of real life case examples in this. So one of our customers, when we started with them, they had a 263% variation on how long it took to do like for like work. And that was not between employees, that was in an employee. And they reduced that from 263% variation down to 95% so far. So the recommendations would come in and say, when you're writing code line of X, when you're selling to this type of customer, when you're serving this customer, and then it starts to make recommendations to you of what you can do to be better at that.
Are you watching me? Are you tracking me? Are you doing something to me as an individual?
I wish we were tracking you, okay? We're actually pulling data that companies already have inside their, inside the systems that you use. So we pull the data from the systems that employees interact with every day. Basically we're after the table with timestamps.
So this seems like an automated management consulting service, sort of a cheaper version of what you would pay consultants to do. I think I get it. So you have, I like your enterprise approach. Looks like you'd be ripe for acquisition pretty quickly too.
We're going to IPO.
Okay.
I would like to ask a question.
For that, but we're going for it. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'd like to ask a question, please. Yeah, I'm very deep into this productivity thing. I looked at about 50 companies, I believe, it lasts 2 months. Yeah, because we are investing in area. And I know that there is 3 parameters that we're usually looking for: productiveness, effectiveness, and quality.
Correct.
I didn't heard about 2 of others from you.
So we focus on human productivity. We don't get into the process side. The effectiveness tends to go more into the process side. So we would be looking at, are you doing the work that you should be doing, and are you doing it in the best way that you possibly can? And we look at the quality impact of that on others.
Okay, thank you.
So Ben, you mentioned about management consulting. So currently there's $165 billion per year spent on productivity. And the management consulting is one of the key areas we're going directly after.
Can you give an example of, what advice, your platform will give to a specific employee based on the information that it gets? Like what kind of, any example, but like something concrete.
Yeah, so one of the areas we look at is what's called the ramp to productivity. So how long does it take from the beginning of a day till people hit their productivity peak? And we find that that's somewhere between 2 hours and 2 hours and 15 minutes. So then we make recommendations back to the managers to move their meetings that they have in that time period out so that they could come in and get the day started with more energy early in the day. Another example would be when you're processing a claim with this level of complexity in it, when this employee is, his quality drops. So therefore, learn from Mike, who's doing a better job, what he's doing to help this employee. So it would get to that kind of level. And then there's a task allocator that's built in that looks at skill and scarcity of who should be working on what based upon their own abilities. And then it makes recommendations to realign the work. I can go into a lot more detail, but I know that I'm being nudged to keep short.
So you're looking, this is Terry, you're looking at the email, correct?
So we look at the ERP systems, so the timestamps there. So basically Oracle, SAP, we look at Salesforce, we look at the metadata on email, we look at calendar entries, and then we also look at Zoom, Slack, and then we would look at other management systems that companies have in regard to.
Are you going through the email to try to do any analysis of the email, the corporate email?
Today we don't, but that's in our product development plan.
Yeah, you might want to check. I co-founded Eva. If you know Eva.ai, I'm the co-founder. And so I know a little bit about it. So I've been through this journey and have had those pivots. So if you need any guidance, let me know. But you're on track. It's not easy, but you seem to be on track.
You'd be a fantastic investor if you want to talk.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you.
Okay, I'll put my details.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Share your contacts in the chat. And so this was the last one. And thank you, every participants. Thank you all startups for joining us today. And thanks for judges who are voting is very well. So we will take some minutes just to finish voting process. And I'm passing the word to Anna.
Yep.
Yeah, no, the word probably, yes. Thank you.
What? Sorry.
Yes, that's cool. Yeah, judges, you have done a great job. I can see behind the scene, and you have liked, assumingly, most of the startups you had seen today. But the pity is, and Jordan, that's the inside that who is sharing the screen?
I am.
No, it's not the time to do that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Stop doing that. The pity is that we can pick only 10, maybe 12 startups that pitch at our every battle, because it takes too long, right? So if we have done lots of battles recently, mostly online, because everybody is on the lockdown, and we have been to the countries and places I have never heard of. We had participants from 67 countries and VCs and startups. And what I hear the most is that a lot of money chasing few ideas. And guys, you can always approach us, ask us, because we have lots and lots of applications from the startups, and not all of them get a chance to pitch live. So you do not get to see them all, first of all. And the second of all is there is such a thing as open innovation, and I'm calling you to accept such a thing as open investments. We are inviting all the VCs to speak openly, maybe share their deals, because sometimes the best deals just do not reach best people. So we will be doing the online events, we will be doing the offline events for all the VCs from different parts of the world to share their deals, share their ideas, share their views. And I think it will be really, really great opportunities for everyone. And Anastasia, do we have the results?
So I'm just checking, not every judges finished the walkthrough. Can I ask here directly? Yes. So Neil, are you going to finish your voting? Alexander Zimmerman?
Let's just finish, yeah, the voting.
Okay, as Alexander said, we are going to finish.
Well, while you're doing this, I just want to wish all the Eid celebrating people on the call happy Eid, and congrats on finishing a good Ramadan. So go party, but don't mingle. You guys don't know what Eid is. If you don't know what Eid is, just ignore that.
No, we are now curious. You have to tell us about that.
The Muslim world just finished the month of Ramadan, and there are 3 days of celebration right now. And they usually have a lot of food and interaction and get together, and they see family like Christmas, except for 3 days. But they're all stuck at home and they're all suffering right now.
Yes, but you have lots of food at home, right? That's good what this part is. And girls?
Okay, yes, we are going to tell the results. And
do we have a winner?
Of course, and just one. So I'm going to introduce third place, and it is Enable. And
wow, wonderful.
Thanks.
Yes.
And the second place goes to Real Key.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, Christopher.
Congratulations.
Congrats. Yeah. And the winner is AR Wall. Congrats.
Wow, wonderful. Yes, that's great. See you at our finals, grand finals of the Silicon Valley, right? And all the details you'll get from Anastasia, our event manager for today. And right now, we would like to start a little discussion with our VCs.
Yeah, but before Anna, do we have the winner by our guests?
Guests are lazy today. I don't know. Is it about New York or something? Guests do not want to support startups. It's just one, yeah. So there is nothing to talk about. Yeah,
Okay.
guests are too tired to put in likes in all the other things. So let's move on to our VCs. And I would like to continue what I was telling you about is I would like to hear your opinion. Sharing the deals throughout the world, is it how it's going to be? Because everybody is now used to talking online. So why don't we use the advantage of doing that? Right? Come on, help me out with that.
I think you guys doing a great job connecting all of us internationally, and since we can talk to startups like from different countries and see the pitches right here, it's amazing. So like, thank you for that. I really enjoy this type of pitches, and being at my kitchen from the other part of the world is just amazing. And I think this is the way to do. Great job.
Yeah, thank you. But it's like, thank you, Daniel. It's always a pleasure to have you. But I was also wanted to hear from the VCs. Is it possible to get best deals this way? If you just share within your community, have you had such an experience when somebody was calling you and saying, hey, we are entering this deal, come on, go with us? And it was the best deal you have ever entered?
Yeah, I'll take that if that's all right with everybody. I'll take that question because we're trying to run different kinds of syndicates for some of our deals. I think it is possible to answer your question really quickly, and I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on it. I think you guys are running a wonderful forum. I've been only involved with a couple of events that you've done so far, and it seems like there's an interesting mix of things that you're looking at, both from a deal flow standpoint and the objective of looking at different industry types, right? So in the private ecosystem, we do circulate deal flow, and we look at certain types of deals. We know there are certain relationships that we'd like to bring in on very, very specific kinds of deals. So I think maybe a good point to start would be to collectively go out to your community of investors and maybe think about designing streams that they would like to get involved in. And that would be a great place to start, because for me, I can say that if there's an enterprise tech or a health tech life science deal that is at a certain stage, late seed Series A being our focus, I think we'd love to look at those kinds of deals more actively. Not to say that the other deals are not worth it, or not to take away any credit from them. It's just purely based on interest. That could be an interesting way to kind of look at how you manage the ecosystem. That's just my feedback.
Okay, thank you for your feedback. I would like to welcome you to our VC house, because we will be just sharing some insights, and like what I see the great opportunity is for different VCs from, it's like, guys, you're lucky to be living in the States, some of you, right? Because there is a lot of things happening, right, by the reach of your hand. But some guys live in Malaysia, in Burundi, in, I don't know, in the North Pole and places where there are not so many great deals. And it's a great opportunity using the online features to get in contact with the people that can be your investor friends, right?
Yes, so Anna, I just wanted to jump in again and iterate Avi's sentiment there. The forum is very, very well done. I think the interface becomes, a productivity tool for all of us, obviously, to, take a look at things that we may not normally see. But, I go back into the startups' shoes, having access to real-time data analytics, especially as it relates to, qualified indications of interest on the round. It allows the startup to be more productive in terms of being able to harness that and take this into offline due diligence on the companies themselves.
Absolutely. And it's also expertise, right? Like what I like about us getting all together, like when we were doing coronavirus battles in all these different parts of the world, we had come across such amazing people with such a great expertise in like such unique fields. And I don't know if we would ever be able to get involve them in our community if not this online thing. So there are many good things that happened to our company during coronavirus, right, Alexander?
Yeah, absolutely. So at first we were really disappointed a little bit because we are used to make our battles offline, but then when you can travel to different countries, just sitting at home is really great. So yeah, we loved it.
I think if I may, I'll just comment. This is Roman. Basically, I actually enjoy the online battles much more. Even though initially I thought this would be a little bit of a compromise. At the same time, I just sense that this concept is just connecting the territories where there might be some talent in abundance, but there may be some shortage of capital or attention to some of the regions, and vice versa. And the concept, the online kind of pitching sessions, and then the VC house idea, where one of VC funds would be bringing as a lead investor the company that they would like to share with other investors. I think it's a great opportunity to basically get into the deals that we would have never come across. So apart from saving on logistics, I think it just broadens the the reach to the talent.
Yeah, save money on logistics, invest into startups, right? That should be our motto.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anna and Alexander, this is Jordan. I go to a lot of virtual events, and before COVID, I absolutely hated the offline events. They were tiring, costly, exhausting. It became a burden. So this is a great, absolutely fabulous way to meet people across the world. But your network, Alexander and Anna, you have the capacity right now, I think in the entire world, you're one of the few folks able to create the work streams that Abby spoke of, to bring investors to look at deals in a semi-virtual fashion, and then they can take it to the next level. You're in the best place right now to take this 3 levels up and create a virtual global investment network, as opposed to the old one where you have to be in Silicon Valley to do any business. This is your Zoom moment.
Thank you, Jordan.
Wow, Jordan, you know how to make
Jordan,
my evening.
Jordan, what do you think about virtual after party? Because we are thinking about it in virtual world.
I would like to find a virtual investment event. So we will have to invest virtually. This is a given, right? We're not going to be able to invest in
or something like that?
Deep dive, due diligence. A lot of us will have to pivot from doing the old way. You have to have them in person.
Absolutely.
Look, 7 years ago, the investment model was very archaic. You had to come to the Valley. You had to have introductions. You can get into Sand Hill Road to save your life. And then it evolved into this open forum. People have rooms. You go to pitch sessions, blah, 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 blah. This is the next iteration. The old way is dead. It's not coming back.
Absolutely.
Guys, investors on the call, who believes the old way is going to come back and this is going to go away? If you think it's going to come back, raise your hand or something.
Silence. Yes,
no,
I think you're true.
I'll just jump in real quick. I'd take Jordan up on that, not just because he cited me, but also because I think he's absolutely right. Right. So I think, the models have shifted, and these VC roundtables that we used to hold previously in confined conference rooms, that model's gone out of the window. Right. So I think you have this really incredible opportunity to take what you're doing with the platform. I'm deeply appreciative of you, for bringing me into this network. I think I've seen a great mix of things and a great bunch of people here. I do think that there's a way forward for you. And, if you can run different streams of syndicates, as I said before, I think you'll have a field day with this. And, just don't charge us management fees and carries right off the bat. Wait for it.
We decided not to do it. Like
oh no, Anna, Anna, no, no.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
For at least no. Let me make for at least the first ones to come. So don't hesitate.
If you want to do this well, create work groups for the next 4 to 5 weeks with your investors from all over, and see what they want. Identify what the market needs are. But you're onto something very wicked.
Yeah, so this Sunil, I think one of the things we have seen incremental is we get invited to so many virtual groups, but the biggest fall through is there is no easier way to connect with this group of people. Like I can see, few people having interesting ideas. And as we know, the deals cannot be made on a day one or day two, right? This is a kind of a relationship building. The people I met 5 years back, and I'm working with them now. Now, just holding one virtual event together and me not able to know these people, in fact, I've lost a larger deals rather than today's deal. So if there is an easier way for us to communicate, get interpersonal, I think that would go a long way. So Anna, maybe if there is an app where we could just bring all of us together, a kind of a circle of trust app where we can just share the ideas, start knowing each other, started to know the mindset of each other, and I think then we will start making the progress. So maybe I can think of you as that central magnet where some of us come together, get to know each other, and then we support all the startups or most of the startups which comes in through this network. Then we know that this is my circle of trust. I would say that you have done a great job in bringing right people together on the virtual forum. But I think there's a last bit, or what we call in the shipping industry, like the last mile, where connecting people is missing. So if you can help us do that, because I could hear some of you guys today, and I sincerely feel that there's a good way I would love to connect with them, but it's hard to keep up.
Sure, no problem. If anyone needs any interest, you know how to find me, and I would love to.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying, and I mean we can always find you, but at the same time, if you make it very seamless within the same, and it could be an app, it could be an easier way to connect.
Yes, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a special vehicle for that, and within this, it will be a closed community, invitation only. But within this community, you will be free. You'll be able to freely communicate between each other or within a small group. It's that is going to be done.
Okay, good.
Yes. So everyone.
Hey, Anna, probably it's time to finish the event for today.
It's time to say goodbye. I wish I could say sing like Sarah Brightman, this wonderful thing. I love it.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. Really appreciate it.
Thank you everyone. It was great to see you all.
Yeah, very nice to see you all. And we invite you for the next battles. It will be in Brazil, Milan. So you can find all details on our website. Please join us.
Yes, and later in the month, we're going to be in Tokyo also, our first event in Japan. So watch for our updates, and I will see you all online. Take care.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Thank you for coming today. Bye-bye. It was great to have you all. Anastasia, now you can. Thank you.